So welcome to this new lecture on statics ME106, and today we're going to solve this problem 10-36 and 37 of your textbook, RC Hibbeler 12th edition. And this problem says us that find the centroid of this composite shape, which is an area, and calculate its second moment of area about the x dash axis and the vertical axis y. So you have to remember that we are trying to calculate the second moment of area, which is a property, a parameter that is related with only the cross sectional details, which is only related with the cross sectional details. So it does not matter that if this would have been a beam that has a depth into the page. So if it would have been a volume, even then we are not concerned with the volume. We are only concerned with the cross-sectional details, because second moment of area is something that is related with the details of the cross-section. So before we begin to solve this problem, let's notice few things about this problem. You can see that the given composite area is completely symmetric about the y-axis. So about the vertical axis, everything is a mirror image. Whatever you have on the right hand side, left hand side, it is exactly the same on the right hand side. So it is a mirror image about the y-axis, and therefore the given cross-sectional area is fully symmetric about the y-axis. But it is not symmetric about the x dash axis. Okay, please note that about the x dash axis, this given composite area or shape is actually not symmetric. So when a composite area or a volume is not symmetric about a given axis, its second moment of area about that axis is always calculated using parallel axis theorem. So this means that if you want to calculate Ix dash, okay, because this Ix dash represents the second moment of area about the x dash axis, and about the x dash axis, this area is not symmetric. So if you want to calculate Ix dash, then you have to use parallel axis theorem. However, the second moment of area about the symmetric axis can be calculated using the Boolean algebra of simple shapes, if and only if the centroid of all simple shapes lies on that axis. So for example, this given cross-sectional area is symmetric about y-axis. So we can use the Boolean algebra. We can avoid using the parallel axis theorem, and we can use Boolean algebra of the constituent shapes, the simpler shapes that actually makes up this total area. Using the Boolean algebra of those constituent shapes, we can calculate the second moment of area about the vertical axis. But you have to notice that while you will be using Boolean algebra, you have to make sure that the centroid of all those constituent areas must lie on the y-axis, on the vertical axis. Okay, for example, let's look at this problem, or this shape actually. So for example, you have this kind of a shape. Okay, this is a cone. So this one is a cone, and maybe a triangle, not a cone. So we are dealing with the areas to make it a triangle. So this is a triangle. this is a rectangle, and again we have a triangle. Suppose that we have this kind of a cross section made up of two triangles and one rectangle, and we notice that this given cross section is completely symmetric about the y-axis, that is the vertical axis, and it is also completely symmetric about the horizontal axis, x-axis. However, we cannot use Boolean algebra if we want to calculate Ix, the second moment of area about the x-axis. This is because the centroid of this lower triangle, it might lie somewhere here. Then the centroid of this rectangle lies on the intersection of the symmetry axis, and the centroid of this triangle might lie somewhere here. So we see that even though this given cross section is completely symmetric about the x-axis, the centroids of the individual areas or the constituent shapes which makes this total area, they do not lie on the x-axis. Okay, so they have what is called moment arms measured from the x-axis. Okay. They have moment arms, and that is why we cannot use the Boolean algebra to calculate the Ix, even though the shape is completely symmetric about the x-axis. The centroids of the individual shapes, they do not lie on the x-axis. Okay, but if you look at the value of Iy, if you want to calculate Iy, you can use the Boolean algebra. This is because you see that the centroid of all the constituent simple shapes that makes up this cross section, they all lie on one single axis, that is y-axis. So the moment arms d1 and d2 disappears. So you can use Boolean algebra for Iy, but not for Ix. So this is the condition that you have to uh, keep in your mind while using Boolean algebra, concept of Boolean algebra in calculating the second moment of areas. So these 2 points, point number 2 and point number 3, are very important. You have to remember that if a given cross-sectional area or volume is symmetric about a particular axis, then uh, you can only use Boolean algebra if the centroids of all the constituent shapes lie on that axis. Otherwise, you cannot use the Boolean algebra. And secondly, if a cross section is not symmetric about an axis, okay, then you cannot use Boolean algebra at all. In that case, you have to use the parallel axis theorem, right? So having these points in our mind, we can proceed. So in order to calculate Ix dash or Ix prime and Iy, we first have to locate the centroid of this cross section. Okay, so let's divide this entire cross section into simple shapes. So I have considered this portion as constituent number 1 or shape number 1, which is this rectangle, the larger rectangle having dimension of 2 inch and 6 inches. And then The second and third constituents are these smaller triangles, rectangles. So we have divided this entire given cross section into three simple shapes. Number one is this larger rectangle having dimensions of 2 inch by 6 inch. Number two and number three are these smaller triangles having dimensions of 1 inch by 3 inches. Okay, this is 5, so 5 minus 2 is 3. And then you have already calculated performed the calculations of centroid. In chapter number 9 you have to make a table. So for centroid you need to make a table, and you need to define the reference. So I have taken the reference at this point O, exactly the point at which this vertical axis and this x-axis is intersecting. So from this point we will going to measure everything. So we have three simple shapes, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. The first column will be the area column. You have to calculate the areas of all these things, these simple shapes. So the area of shape number 1, which is a rectangle, is 2 by 6, so it is 12 inches square. And the areas of shape number 2 and 3 will be 3 into 1, so 3 inches square and 3 inches square. And then the centroid, y coordinate of the centroid of these individual shapes measured from point O. So in case of 1, it is only 1 inch because this dimension is 2 inches, so 1 inch will be the y coordinate of the centroid for this shape 1. And similarly for shape number 2 and 3, you know that this is 3 inches, so its centroid will be located at 1.5 inch, and then you have to add this 2 inch, okay, because you are measuring everything from the origin. So you have to add this 2 inch and plus 1.5 inch, that makes 3.5. So 3.5 inch for shape number 2 and 3 measured from point O. Then the third column will be the product of first and second column. So it is 12 multiplied by 1, which is 12. Okay, 3 multiplied by 3.5, which is 10.5. 3 multiplied by 3.5, which is 10.5. And since in order to calculate the y coordinate of the centroid of this entire cross section, you need to sum the areas, and you need to sum this third column. So you have to take summation of this first column, which is 12 plus 3 plus 3, 18 inches square, and you have to take sum of this third column, 12, 10.5, 10.5, which is 32.7 inch cube. And so we know that the centroid can be calculated with the help of this formula, summation y tilde a upon summation a, which is 32.7 upon 18, it is 1.816. So the centroid, the y coordinate of the centroid of this entire cross section is 1.816 inch. Okay, and since this cross section was symmetric about y axis, the centroid lies on the y axis only. Okay, so you don't have to calculate the x coordinate of the centroid because it is lying at 0. Okay, we have already mentioned that if a given shape or a given volume has a axis of symmetry defined, then the centroid, center of mass and center of gravity will always going to lie on that axis. So therefore it was only necessary for us to calculate the y coordinate of the centroid of this entire cross section. So this is the information that you have already performed in chapter number 9. It was part of this question, so we have calculated the centroid, and it was necessary as well because uh, without calculating the value, without having the value of this centroid, you cannot calculate ix dash and iy dash. So let's proceed on. Now we are going to calculate the second moment of area I x dash. Okay, so the given cross section is not symmetric about x dash axis. Also, the centroid of elements 1, 2, and 3 does not lie on the x dash axis. Therefore, for I x dash, we have to use parallel axis theorem. So you see that the centroid of this rectangle lies here. The centroid of this rectangle lies here, and the centroid of this larger rectangle lies here. This we have sorted out in the previous slide. So you see that the centroids of the individual shapes or constituent shapes are not lying on the x dash axis. Okay, so we cannot, and also this cross section is not symmetric about x dash axis, so we cannot, there is no chance of using the Boolean algebra to calculate the second moment of area. Okay, so therefore we have to use parallel axis theorem, and parallel axis theorem is defined with this equation. I x dash is equal to I bar plus AD square, and this I bar is the second moment of area defined at the centroid of individual shapes. Okay, so for this small rectangle, you have to calculate the second moment of area about its centroid. That will be equal to I dash. For this small rectangle, you have to again calculate the centroid, second moment of area about its centroid. That will be I dash. And for this larger rectangle, you have to calculate the second moment of area about its centroidal axis. That will be I dash. So luckily, these three constituent shapes that makes up this total area, they all are rectangles, so they will have same formulas for I dash. A is the area of the individual constituent, and D is the distance between the parallel axis. So you see that you have a distance, clearly you have a distance defined between the centroid of this element and x dash, and you have distance defined between the centroid of this shape and x dash, and you have a distance, perpendicular distance defined between the centroid of this third rectangle and x dash axis. So these are all d's, and you can notice that the calculation of these d's wouldn't be possible if we haven't calculated the uh, cent- centroidal coordinate, y coordinate of the centroid for this entire cross section. So I have used subscript 1 for this member, this constituent element. Remember, it was our shape 1, and I will going to use the parallel axis theorem on this constituent shape 1, simple rectangle shape 1. So that will translate to I dash 1, I bar 1 plus A1 D1 square, and D1 square will be 1.816 minus 1, because this y dash we have calculated it to be 1.816 in the previous slide, so it was 1.8816, and this distance was 1 inch. So you have to subtract this 1 inch from 1.816 to get this distance, which is the perpendicular distance between the x bar x prime and the centroid of this rectangle, which is named as 1. So that is 1.816 minus 1, which is 0.816 inch. And so for rectangle 1, this bar, I bar, is defined as 1 by 12 AB cube. So for rectangles, the common formula for second moment of areas is equal to 1 by 12 A cube and B, where A, B are the dimensions. So now you have to focus on the fact that which dimension you have to be you will be applying cube, right? So 1 by 12 is a constant, it will come as it is. Then you notice that one of the dimension of this rectangle 1, shape 1, is 2 inches, while the other dimension is 6 inches. So you have to actually take cube of one of these dimensions, either 6 or 2, but which one? So the answer is that you are calculating second moment of area about the horizontal axis, x dash. So the dimension that is perpendicular to this horizontal axis will be cubed. And you see that the dimension that is perpendicular to this x dash axis is 2 inches. Okay, so this dimension of rectangle 1, which was 2 inches, it is perpendicular to the x dash axis. So therefore we have taken the cube of 2, while 6 will going to appear as it is. So this is the dimension that is parallel to the x dash axis, 6 inches. So therefore, substituting all the values here, okay, we have calculated the area in the table. So we will just copy that value here, 12.816 square, which is d square, and 1 by 12, 2 raised to power 3 into 6. This will give you the second moment of area of this rectangle 1. This rectangle 1 about the centroidal axis x dash, about this axis. Now we have to repeat this procedure for shape number 2, okay, which was this smaller triangle, and shape number 3. So I have used the subscript 2 now for this smaller triangle 2, which is equal to I bar 2 plus A2 D2 square. I have already calculated A2 in my table. I2 bar will again be the second moment of area for rectangle, which is 1 by 12 AB cube, and we have to decide that which dimension will be cubed here. So first of all, let us calculate the perpendicular distance, this distance between the centroid of this smaller triangle, rectangle 2, and the x dash axis. So we know that measured from point O, which was our reference, everything is measuring from the reference. This distance was 2 plus 1.5, which is 3.5 inches. Okay. So this distance was 3.5 inches, and this distance is 1.816. So the distance between the centroid of this smaller rectangle 2 and this x dash axis comes out to be 3.5 minus 1.816. So it is 3.5 minus 1.816, which is 1.684 inch. So this is the value of D for this rectangle 2. Okay. And we have to now look at the dimension which is perpendicular to the x dash axis for this rectangle 2. So the dimension that is perpendicular to x dash axis is this dimension, which is 5 minus 2, 3. So this dimension was actually 3, this dimension. So we have to take cube of 3, and then this dimension that was parallel to x prime axis is 1. So it will appear as it is. So after this, you put all the values here in this formula, and you will be able to calculate the second moment of area of this rectangle 2 about the x dash axis. So Ix2 dash equals to 1 by 12, 3 raised to power 3 into 1 plus 3, which was the area of this smaller rectangle, into square of the distance between the centroids uh, of these of between the centroid of this section, this shape 2 and x dash axis. So this will be 1.684 square, and this gives you 10.757 inch 4. So for ix3 dash, the result will remain the same, okay, because this is shape number 3 and all values will remain the same. So we have calculated the second moment of areas of shape number 1, shape number 2 and shape number 3 about the x dash axis by using parallel axis theorem. Now since these all shapes are being added, okay, these are being added to make up this total uh, area, okay, that is why you will be just adding them, simply add them, because in order to come up with this cross section, in order to come up with this entire cross section, okay, in order to come up with this entire cross section you have to add shape number 1, add shape number 2 and add shape number 3 together. So therefore, in order to find the second moment of area of this entire cross section about the x dash axis, you just have to simply add the second moment of areas of individual shapes that you have calculated about the x dash axis. So ix dash will be equal to sum of all these moment of areas that you have calculated, that is ix1 dash plus ix2 dash plus ix3 dash, and that gives you 11.99 plus 10.757 into 2. So this gives us 33.504 inch 4. So the second moment of area for this entire cross section, about the x dash axis, comes out to be 33.504. And so please notice that why we have used the second moment of the parallel axis theorem to calculate ix dash, because firstly this given cross section was not symmetric about the x dash axis, and secondly the centroids of these individual shapes, shape number 1, shape number 2, shape number 3, they were actually not lying on x dash axis. So we didn't use Boolean algebra, but we used parallel axis theorem. So in parallel axis theorem, you have to individually calculate the second moment of areas of all these constituent shapes 1, 2 and 3 about the x dash axis, and then by looking at your uh, cross section, you have to add or subtract them. So in this case, we have added all of them because uh, all these shapes were actually adding together to give you this entire cross section. So nothing to be subtracted. All of the moment of areas are being added here. So this gives us a value of 33.504 for ix dash. And now let's calculate iy. Okay, so second moment of area iy. So we can notice that in case of iy, the given cross section is symmetric about the y-axis, and also the centroid of individual elements lie on the y-axis. Therefore, we can easily use Boolean algebra of simple shapes to calculate iy. Okay, but of course we cannot use uh, the the methodology that we have used to calculate ix dash, because you see here, since this shape was symmetric about the y-axis, then we must figure out some way of defining the constituent shapes or simpler shapes such that their centroids appear on the y-axis. So I have actually, you can see here that I have changed the numbering. So now I am considering shape 1 as this entire rectangle. this entire rectangle is my shape 1. Okay, so its centroid will going to lie on y-axis somewhere. So if this dimension was 5 inches, then its centroid will lie on and somewhere here at 2.5 inches. Okay, measured from this origin. And if I would have followed the same numbering which I use in the while calculating ix dash, okay. For example, if I would have used this rectangle, this smaller rectangle as 2, okay, and this smaller rectangle as 3, so you see that the centroid of these two, constituent 2 and constituent 3, actually are offsetted from y-axis. Okay, they are not lying on the y-axis. So this means that I am not able to use the previous numbering. That is why I changed the numbering, okay, to this one, to this new numbering, such that the centroid of each and every constituent shape lies on the y-axis. So I have taken this larger rectangle as shape 1, and whose centroid is lying on the vertical axis here, and then I have defined the second shape to be this smaller rectangle. Instead of defining this as 2 and this as 3, I have defined this shape, this smaller rectangle as my shape 2. And I can notice that since this rectangle is also symmetric about y-axis, its center of centroid will going to lie on the y-axis. So in this way you can see that both the centroids are lying on the y-axis, and there are no uh, and there are actually no moment arms. So therefore, since my shape 1 is a rectangle, it is still a rectangle, I have to use the same formula 1 by 12 a cube b, but now I have to look at the dimension which is perpendicular to y-axis. Okay, so the dimension of my shape 1 that is perpendicular to y-axis is 6 inches, because remember this one was 3 inches, this one was 3 inches, and this one was also defined to be 3 inches. So this 6 inches is the dimension, this is the dimension that is perpendicular to the y-axis now. So I have to cube this dimension now. Okay, so that is why I have taken cube of the 6 inch dimension, and since this dimension was 5 inches, it appears as it is. This appears as it is. So 1 by 12, 6 cube into 5, which gives me 90-inch 4. So this is the second moment of area IY1, the second moment of area of my shape 1 about y-axis. Similarly, my shape 2 is also a rectangle. Okay, this is also a rectangle. So I will be using the same formula 1 by 12 a cube b, and this time I will going to take cube of this dimension, because this is the dimension that is perpendicular to the y-axis. Okay, and this dimension was, since this is 1 inches, this was given to be 1 inch, therefore this dimension appears to be 4 inches, because you have to subtract 1 inch from this side and 1 inch from this side from the dimension of 6 inch to get this 4 inches. So 1 by 12 cube of the 4 into 3. Okay, this dimension was 3 inches. Sorry, this dimension was 3 inches. So IY2 comes out to be 1 by 12 cube of the 4 into 3, which gives me 16" 4. So since this dimension, this figure, this smaller shape number 2, okay, this smaller rectangle shape number 2 is actually not existing. Okay, so I have to subtract the second moment of area of this shape from the second moment of area of the first shape. Okay, because this is actually not existing. So Iy, the second moment of area of this entire cross section about the y-axis, will be equal to this value minus this value. So it is 90 minus 1674 inch square. So please note that that in this case, in the previous case, when we were calculating Ix dash, we have added all the values. Why? Because shape number 1, shape number 2, shape number 3 were basically all adding together to form this cross section, the original cross section that was given to us. Okay, but when we want to calculate Iy, we cannot use this numbering 1 2 3. So we change the numbering. We said that this is our shape 1 now. This entire larger rectangle is our shape 1 now, and this rectangle, which actually do not exist, is our shape 2 now. So we have to subtract shape 2 from shape 1 in case of Iy. Okay, that is why it is being subtracted here, and we get Iy equals to 74" 4. So this concludes that the given cross section has higher second moment of area about the y-axis, which means that it is more difficult to bend the given cross sectional area about the y-axis. Okay, so since you know that the second moment of area is actually the ability of a cross section to resist bending about a particular axis, then these results are actually indicating us that if this cross section is loaded uh, like this in the vertical direction, if it is loaded in the vertical direction, okay, maybe like this, then these loads will going to try to wrap up this cross section about the horizontal axis, x dash axis. Okay, and in that case the moment of area will be 33.504. So less resistance will be offered by this cross section in case of bending about the x dash axis. Less resistance will be offered if this structure is loaded uh, in the with these vertical forces, because the second moment of area has a value of 33.504. But if this same cross section is loaded in this direction, then these loads, these horizontal loads will try to wrap up the cross section about the y-axis. Okay, it will try to wrap up the cross section about the y-axis, and in that case the resistance will be larger. It is 74 because the second moment of area is 74" 4 about the y-axis. So this given cross section has a higher value of uh, resistance to bending about the y-axis than compared to the this x dash axis. Okay, so when a vertical load will going to apply, this cross section will going to wrap up or will going to bend about the x dash axis more easily compared to the y axis. So please go through this question thoroughly, and we will going to meet in the next lecture. Thank you.